This picture is just meant to be a reminder about what each part of the nutrition facts label tells you about. So at the top, you'll see it tells you how much would be one serving. So for example, when I sit down to have a bowl of cereal, usually I have more than 1 cup, but a lot of times on the nutrition facts label, it will suggest a serving size of 1 cup. So when I look at the rest of the label, I have to adjust those numbers. If I'm having 2 cups of cereal, then every number on here I'm going to have to double. So the blue part tells you what one typical serving would be, or their recommended serving. The pink part tells you how many calories are in that serving, just that food. The yellow part tells you nutrients, both good and bad. All of those nutrients are necessary, but some of them you want more of than others. And the purple part tells you if you're eating a 2,000 calorie diet, what percent of your nutritional needs for the day are you getting by eating one serving of that? This picture is meant to help you tease out which nutrients you want to get more of and which nutrients you want to get less of. So if you look in the nutrients you want to get more of, dietary fiber, calcium, iron, potassium, vitamin D, these are all things that you really want to be stocking up on and getting a lot of each day in your diet. On the other hand, some things that you want to try to avoid getting too much of: saturated fat, sodium, added sugars, and trans fat. Some of the things in the nutrients to get less of column are things that you should just really try to avoid anyway. You don't need added sugars or trans fat in any of your foods. All of the natural foods that you eat will provide enough of both of those things. In fact, trans fat, I don't even know if it exists in natural foods like an apple. Also, I would add that in nutrients to get more of, you probably want protein in there as well. It's not necessarily a nutrient, but that is something to strive to get lots of in any kind of a snack food. One more look at the nutrition facts would be sort of how to approach them. To start off, if you look at the pink part, number 1, you try to figure out what is a serving size. Based on that, how many calories are you getting? And is that something, do you want to devote that many calories per day to that one snack? The third thing to consider is looking at all of the nutrients in there. Is this snack giving you the nutrients that you're seeking? Is it low in fat? Does it have too much sodium? If so, maybe you want to avoid it. Does it have a lot of dietary fiber compared to added sugars? If so, that's a good thing. And also, does it provide any protein for you? If it does, then that's probably a good thing too. One little rule of thumb that's helpful is by looking at the percent daily value. It shows how much a nutrient in a serving of the food contributes to the total daily diet. So for example, if something says 5% or lower, then that would be considered a low amount of that daily value. And if it says 20% or higher, that means you're getting a lot of that nutrient from that one serving of food you're eating. So the last thing I want to do is compare 2 kinds of yogurt, just to kind of show you what you're going to be doing on your Padlet responses. If we look at this Yoplait strawberry yogurt, we can see its serving size is 1 container, so it's expected that you're going to eat 1 whole container of it. Looking at the calories, 150 calories for a snack is not a huge amount, so that's pretty good. Looking at the saturated fat, that's 5%. That's not bad either, because remember, 5% or lower is considered low for your percent daily value. Cholesterol is pretty low. Sodium's not bad, 4%. They're all under 5%. If you look at carbohydrates, it's about 8%. But if you look at sugars, that's 18 grams of added sugars, when in fact you really don't need any added sugars from the foods you eat. So I would say this is definitely high in sugar. If you look at protein, it's 12% of your daily value. Again, not great, because you want to be looking at things that are 20% or higher as being high in that particular nutrient. If you look down at the vitamins and minerals, really good on vitamin D and calcium. So those would be considered high numbers for those two nutrients. Now we're going to look at the nutrition information for a Chobani low-fat yogurt with strawberry on the bottom. Again, here, one container of this would be considered one serving. Calories aren't bad, 120, that's not a huge amount. Looking at the amount of fat in here, there's no fat, so that's a good thing. It has no trans fat or saturated fat, both of which are not considered particularly healthy. It's low in cholesterol. Remember that 5% number we're looking for. If it's below that, then that means it's low. So low cholesterol, pretty low potassium as well, although potassium is something you are kind of looking for. That's a good nutrient. Sodium is under 5%, so that's good because we're looking for lower numbers of sodium. Looking at our carbohydrates, there are 15 grams of sugar, so it's still kind of high in sugar. There's hardly any fiber, which we are seeking. We want a lot of fiber, and there's not much fiber in this, only at 3%. If you look down at protein, by eating one container of this yogurt, you're getting 24% of your daily needs for protein. That's pretty good. You're getting about a quarter of the protein you need for a day just by eating this one low-calorie food, 120 calories. If we look down at the other nutrients there, calcium, 15%. Doesn't hit the 20% mark, but it's still pretty good. So when you comment on each other's choices for snack foods on the Padlet wall, just think about all these things. And you're just going to make a comment on a couple people's, like, oh, your snack food is high in sugars. Or looking at your snack food, it only has 10% of the daily value of fat. That's pretty good. So you're thinking about nutrients that are considered positive, things that are considered negative, and you're just going to take one of the nutrients from the snack food you're looking at and make a comment on it.